Like me, some of you may struggle with food and your body. I created this video in order to share my experience and also share how I healed my relationship with food. So what's the story behind body image? There was a study that was done that said 80% of 10-year-old girls go on a diet. Guys, that is crazy. This is an interesting time that we live in. On one side of the token, I feel like, we're celebrating women of all shapes and sizes. On the other side of the token, we live in this time of social media and filters, which I'm not gonna lie, I use filters, or two, people who are actually like going in and changing their body with apps in order to create this idea of perfection. And what does that even mean? For me, I really have struggled, and it has been something that has consumed my every thought, food and exercise. So for me, my issues with food started really when I was in college. I played volleyball my freshman year, and after I quit volleyball because I got sick, and I gained the freshman 10 or 15, right? And it was around that time that I started to have this obsession a little bit with food. I tried a million different diets. I went on a low-fat diet. I tried a military diet, which no one in the military could survive on this diet. It was like 500 calories a day. I tried an ice cream diet. Who does that? Where I was eating 3 ice cream cones a day and that's it. I think for me, it was this idea that if I ate something bad, I would then spend the next day going to the gym punishing myself for everything I ate. When I studied abroad in Italy, and I'm so embarrassed to admit this, but I can tell you, I can count on both hands how many times I ate pasta. Like, what? Like, that's insane. I was so obsessed with coming back. I didn't want to be fat. Everyone's like, you're gonna go over there and gain that 10 pounds. And even if I did, so what? I went to one of the greatest countries, most beautiful places in the world, arguably some of the best food in the world, and I robbed myself of an experience for what? And I just think that, in hindsight, looking back, I've spent so much of my life obsessed with this, and it's robbed me of joy and the ability to actually be present, right? So if I'm going to dinner and all I'm thinking about is don't eat that, don't eat that, don't eat that, do you think I'm really participating fully in the conversations that are going on around me? I'm missing out on the ability to be present. After college, I then got my first modeling job. And I'll never forget this. It was like with a local swimsuit line. So it wasn't like something, big and glamorous, but I ended up on the cover of it. And we had this wrap party, and we were all going through the magazine. And I remember one of the girls who was one of the models came over to me, and she was like, oh my God, look at this picture of this girl. She looks like a boy. Like, seriously, she looks like a man. That girl was me. And I was so embarrassed, and honestly, rather than tell her to go shit in her hat, I looked down at it and I was like, yeah, that's disgusting. And I walked away. And from that point on, I was so, I felt such shame and such embarrassment of my body that up until even recently, I barely wear 2 pieces because it affected me so much. Now, I have a girlfriend of mine who we share a lot of, similarities in body image issues. And she's like, yeah, Suzanne, but you're skinny. Like, no one wants to hear that from you. And here's the thing about body image, and here's the thing about body dysmorphia. It doesn't discriminate between shapes and sizes. It's a thing that can affect all of us, no matter who we are, no matter what we look like, no matter how other people perceive us. It's something from the inside out. And so I wanted to share with you guys what tools I used to help me heal this issue I have with food, because it really was a problem for me most of my life and something I still at times struggle with, I'm not gonna lie. So the first thing is I had to eliminate scales. Scales were not a healthy place for me. I was weighing myself regularly and I'd be like, oh my God, I gained 2 pounds. Here's the thing about being a woman. You're gonna gain, your weight fluctuates so much. It might be your period, it might be that time of the month, and you're gonna be 5 pounds heavier. So I just decided I'm not doing that anymore. So I didn't get on a scale for 10 years, and I would just go by the way that clothes fit me. The other thing is getting off of social media, if for a period of time, if that's something that would, it bothers you to look at other women and be like, oh, they're perfect. Oh, look at how they look. Just get off of it for a while. Or if you don't want to do a social media cleanse, stop following people that make you feel bad about yourself. Third is to understand and identify the underlying issues that you have with food. For me, and for like some of you who might have, you know, eating disorders, there's this thing of control. My life was very out of control. My mom was really sick and I was dealing with a lot. So this was an area and an aspect of my life that I could control. The other thing is, you know, with food can be an addiction just like a drug. And for me, it was the ability to numb out. And I read this somewhere that fat isn't a feeling, it's the absence of a feeling. Think about that. So for me, it was, I didn't want to have to think and feel and experience all the things I was going through in my life. So it helped me to obsess about food 24/7. So I would suggest maybe going to see a therapist or licensed professional to actually like sit down and have somebody help you get through whatever those issues are. Fourth thing is understand the difference between feeling bad and hating your body. And what I mean by that is maybe you have a bad day, like with your boss or with your boyfriend, and you just don't feel great. And what that would used to cause me to do is go down this path of self-loathing. And then that just immediately turned into a really quick fix of me going into, oh, I hate my body. Oh, I can't stand this. And it was like, it stemmed from I just was having kind of a bad day. So understand the difference of feeling bad and hating your body. The next thing is, and this is a big one, guys, and this might sound like a lofty goal, but it's to learn how to rewire your brain. Right now, we live in a time where there's so much content and there's so many amazing people out there who are really like trailblazers in their field. You know, you look at like a Dr. Joe Dispenza and his belief, he has this book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And what he talks about is our bodies and our brains don't know the difference between good and bad. It only knows how you've kept it alive and how it has survived. So if the thoughts you have on loop are, I hate myself, I hate my body, I'm ugly, that is normal now to your body. So we now have to rewire our brains to understand that there's a better way of thinking. There's a better way of being. Another really good person out there is Gabby Bernstein, and she has a book called Super Attractor. And her whole thing is you have the thought, you tell yourself, like the thought is, I feel ugly, I hate my body, I'm fat. You forgive yourself for the thought, and then you replace it immediately with a new thought. My girlfriend's doing this, and my girlfriend replaced it with, I'm willing to start loving my body. So every time she has a negative thought, she says, okay, I accept that, or I had the thought, and now I'm gonna replace it with, I'm willing to start loving my body. And she said it's been life-changing for her. And lastly, I gotta say this, you know, when you sit down with a 90-year-old person at the end of their life, one of the biggest things that they have, or one of the things that eats up a lot of older people is regret. And regret is poison. I'm in my late 30s and I already look back and feel like I wasted so much of my 20s hating my body. And I don't want my 90-year-old self to look back and be like, I wasted my whole youth. And I don't want you to waste, sorry I'm getting emotional, but I don't want you to waste your youth feeling and like hating this beautiful God-given gift that we have. So if this video was at all helpful for you, by the way, I hope I didn't feel like I was just on a soapbox. I'm just really passionate about this. But if this video you found helpful, please feel free to pass it on to anybody. And also, I just recently did an interview with Christine Bullock. She is a lifestyle and fitness expert, and we talked all about body image issues. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that this was helpful and that you know you're not alone. Thanks, guys.